this is Shannon. I hope you are having a great homeschool year so far. If you are new to my channel, I am a homeschooling mom of 3 little ones, 7, 5, and 3. And we do classical homeschooling and love it. And I want to talk to you today about the big felt map you see behind me and how I make these. So you can see Europe is behind me right now because we are currently in cycle 2, and cycle 2 in classical conversations focuses very heavily on Europe and geography. And so we made this giant Europe map behind us with countries that snap on and off, and it's been really fun to dive deeper into Europe this year. So in this video, I want to tell you how I make these and how I am currently working on the United States for cycle 3. I actually just finished it. So I want to show you how I make each of the states. Super fun. Cycle 3 would be an awesome cycle to make one of these felt maps for because the geography is all about the United States. So you can just really dive deep into the United States with your kids. Also, anybody can do this. It doesn't matter if you're homeschooling, doesn't matter if you're in classical conversations. The United States is obviously great to learn about for any kid. So this is just a really fun hands-on way to help your kids learn all the states and the Great Lakes. So how you make these is actually really simple. I have patterns for all of the states. This is the actual size of the Colorado pattern. And so I print the patterns onto Quilter's freezer paper directly from my printer. And so one side is rougher and then the other side is shiny and smooth. And so the shiny side is the side that you can actually iron on to felt. And so I like to do it this way. Instead of cutting it out and pinning it on, I can just iron it directly on to the felt. So I get felt from Etsy. I'll link below the kind that I get. It's called hard Korean felt. I really like it because it's tough. You can't tear it or anything. Works really well for these maps. And like I said, you can get these patterns from my shop. So for the United States, I got 7 different colors of felt. So green, you can see my Florida here, red, purple, yellow, orange, and I got light blue for the Great Lakes. So I ordered my felt and I'll link in the description the exact amount of felt that you need, what colors I got. You don't have to use the exact same colors, but if you want to, I have them linked. So once I get all the felt, I print out all the patterns and lay the patterns out on the felt to make sure I arrange them so that I have enough felt for all of them. If you just kind of start cutting them out, then you might not have enough felt. It is important to arrange them so you're making just the best use of the felt that you have. And so you're putting them as close together as possible so you're not wasting any felt. So once I do that, I just roughly cut out the shape of each state from the color felt that it's supposed to be. So I have my Colorado pattern. I have a rough cutout of the Colorado with my green felt, and I also use this white fusible felt. I'll show you more how that works, but you can see on one of my finished states, it just makes it more secure. So I have the color felt on the front and the fusible white felt on the back, and it makes the snap stay a lot better too. So I have these roughly cut out so they're big enough to fit the Colorado pattern when I cut it out precisely. So then I iron my Colorado just on my green felt. I will make sure the shiny side of my Quilter's freezer paper is against the felt, and I just make sure the iron's nice and hot, and I iron it right onto the felt. Then it will stick on the felt, which is really nice, makes it really easy to cut out. So you can see I'm just ironing the roughly cut states that I cut out of freezer paper onto my felt here. Once I get them ironed on, I just roughly cut them out. Again, I'm not cutting around the exact state outline yet. And I do this for all the states. So I ironed it on. You can see it's stuck on. It's not necessarily perfectly stuck on yet, but that's fine. I just need it stuck on enough that I can stick it on my fusible felt and know where to put my snap. So now before I iron it onto the fusible felt, I'm going to put my magnetic snap into the fusible felt and then iron it onto the fusible felt. So I get these little magnetic purse snaps from Amazon. I'll link them below, but I'm going to use the side that has the part coming out. It doesn't really matter what side you use. You just want to be consistent and use the same side for all your states and then the other side to put on the United States country. So the fusible felt has a rougher side and a smoother side. The rougher side is the part you want to iron on your state. So you want the snap to be on the softer, smoother side, not the rougher side. So Colorado is pretty easy. I'm just going to put the snap right in the middle. And the way I do that is I just press it in to the felt a little bit, enough so it makes an imprint. And then I look at my imprint and I use my X-Acto knife and I just find my marks and push the X-Acto knife into the marks. So I will do that real quick and obviously be really careful. And so now I put my snap into what I just marked. And so the snap part is on the same side as the smooth, soft part of the fusible felt. Then I'm going to turn it over and push the ends of the snap in to secure it. So when I do that, now it looks like this. So this part you'll never see because it's going to be ironed on the felt. They're going to be ironed together like this. And then the back, you'll see this. All right, here you can see I'm arranging all my states to just make the maximum use of my fusible felt so I don't waste any fusible felt. And then once I get them all arranged as close as possible, then I cut them out. I, again, am roughly cutting them out. I'm not cutting them along the outline yet. I'm going to cut them out first, and then I'm going to put the snap on and then iron on the fusible felt and then cut along the outline. Now, before I actually iron the fusible felt on, I need to put the snap on. So again, I line up the state with the fusible felt, figure out where the best place for the snap would be. Some states need more than one snap. I put my snap into the fusible felt so it makes an indentation, and then use my X-Acto knife to cut the two slits out of the white fusible felt. Then I push the snap into the two holes and fold the back of the snap over on the back side of the fusible felt. So I'm folding the prongs over on the rougher side because that's the side I'm going to iron onto the colored felt. So then I line everything up and now I can iron it all together. All right, so now I ironed it on. So kind of bends back and forth, it's stuck on here. And now I'm going to use fabric scissors to cut along the lines of my Colorado pattern. So it just works really well. Then you don't have to pin it. You can cut right along the line of the state, and then it will end up being perfectly the right size. You definitely want to get fabric scissors so it cuts it well. And I have the ones I use linked below. I'm sure any fabric scissor would work well. And you have Colorado. So what's cool is you can just peel your freezer paper off, and it's perfect and it's stuck on. If you feel like you need to iron it a little bit more, I would just put, a thin cloth over this. So sometimes irons can leave residue and you don't want it to ruin your state. So I would just put some kind of cloth over it, maybe iron it a little bit more, but it should really fuse together. I like to sew around the edge. This is my final Colorado. I sewed around the edge of it just for extra security. But if you're not a sewer, you don't have to. This works fine too. Just make sure you ironed it well so it's really fused together. So once I have the snap on the back, then it will snap on and off of my country. So you can see this is rolled up. This is my United States country. It's really big. So Colorado will go somewhere on here, but say it's right here. I know it's not, but it snaps on the snap. And then you can just snap it off just like that. So that is how it works. And I'll show you in a second how I make the actual country part too. But it's really fun and simple once you get the hang of it. It really doesn't take that long. It's just a matter of ordering the felt and printing out the patterns, and then just putting on a good podcast or some music while you cut them out. And then once you have all the states, then you can start working on the country part, which I will show you next. All right, after you cut out all your states, then you need a big piece of felt to make your United States country with. And I got my felt from Etsy. I will link it below, but I got 2 yards, and so it ended up being 44 by 72 inches. So it was perfect size. So I'll link exactly what I got. So I lay all my states out on the big piece of felt. I make sure they're arranged as they need to be and everything looks good. And then what I do is I just go one by one and kind of mark again where the other side of the snap should be so that the state is in the correct spot. I poke holes with my X-Acto knife again, just like I showed you. Then I put the prongs of the snap through the hole so the state's in the right spot, and then I bend the prongs over around the back side of the big piece of felt, and then the state should snap on and off of that spot. I like to start with the central states, so like Texas, Oklahoma, and then kind of work my way a little bit to the right and to the left until I've finished all the states. I definitely wouldn't recommend starting at like the East Coast and then working your way to the West Coast because of the way that the states fit together. It just works better to start at the center and work your way a little bit to the right and to the left. Now, if you look closely, I have all my states snapped on my big piece of felt, and I have outlined the border of the country. So you can see my black outline around the states. I make sure the states are all snapped on before I do this, so I make sure I outline correctly. And then once I outline all the way around the country, then I actually turn the big piece of felt over to the back, and I put white fusible felt on so that it covers the majority of the country. Now you can see mine isn't perfect. It's the back. I used several pieces of white fusible felt that I had left. So I just want it to cover as much of the country as possible to make the country thicker and just more secure. So I do that. I iron the fusible felt on, and then after I iron it, then I cut around the outline that I made of the country, and I cut inside the black outline so that you don't actually see the black outline. All right, so you can see the US map is officially hung up now. I'm so excited. My kids are loving it so far, and I haven't hung up Alaska or Hawaii yet, so I will hang those up soon. But I wanted to show you what it actually looks like on the wall. It's about 66 inches wide and about 42 inches high from like the highest point to the lowest point, in case you're wondering. So super fun. I also wanted to share with you a couple other United States resources I have available to complement this map and just also add to your study of the United States in Cycle 3, or if you're just diving into the United States with your kids, whether you're doing classical conversations or not. So first I have this United States workbook. It has a page for each of the states, including Washington, D.C. I'll show you some examples. So like here's Kentucky, so the kids can color the state symbols. We've got state flower, state animal, state tree, state nickname, etc. Fun fact about each state, shows where each state is, and a zoomed in image of each state for the kids to color. Here is Tennessee, also has the state flag. And then at the end of the book, there's a reference that says all the state trees, state flowers, state animals, state birds. And there's also all the state flags at the end, so the kids can flip to the end and see what each state flag looks like and then color it. There's also several maps at the front. Some are labeled, some are blank, some are colored, some are in black and white. And at the very beginning of the book, I have just a page of the United States in general and some of the country symbols. So this would be a great thing for your kids to work through, whether you're in Cycle 3 with classical conversations, or if you just want to teach your kids about the United States. My kids did the Europe book equivalent of this past year for Cycle 2 and loved that. It's just a way to dive deeper into the United States and really learn more about each state. I also have a fun passport again. If you saw my Cycle 2 passport, this is my Cycle 3 passport. I actually have 2 different versions. So one like this where all the places are labeled like my Cycle 2 passport. So this follows along with the Cycle 3 memory work, the states and capitals that are part of each week, or mountains or rivers or whatever we're learning about. And so the way my kids and I use this year is each time they would learn the geography, I quizzed them, and if they got it right, they got to add a stamp to their passport. So this also comes with stamps. So I have 2 versions this time. Like I said, one that's already filled out, like the Cycle 2 one was this year, and one that's not filled out. So if you have older kids that would benefit from filling in the places on their own, they can do that. When you get it, you get both versions, so you can just choose which one you want to print for your kids. But they loved using this passport as we went through Cycle 2, so I'm really excited to have them use this each week as we go through the geography in Cycle 3. So you can check this out in my shop. Also, if you used my Cycle 2 memory work activity book, this has an activity for each subject of the memory work each week, all 24 weeks. So history has a page, science has a page, geography has a page for each week for all 24 weeks. This obviously is Cycle 2. I am currently working on one for Cycle 3, and I'm excited for Cycle 3. I'm going to have one for younger kids, like 4 to 6-year-olds, and another version for older kids, even up to 12 years old. So stay tuned. I'm not showing it to you now because I don't have it quite finished, but I'm working on it. And as soon as I have the Cycle 3 memory work activity book, I will post it in the description of this video so you can see. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please let me know if you decide to make your own felt US map. Send me a picture. I would love to see it, hear how it went. Let me know if you have any questions about materials or any of the instructions, anything like that. Again, check out my other United States materials in my shop. I will link them in the description below. And if you are enjoying my videos, please subscribe. I plan to continue posting videos, more Cycle 3 focus, and just about homeschool stuff in general throughout the summer and as we get into next school year. Also check out my Instagram. I like to post what I do with my kids homeschool-wise throughout the week, and sometimes some healthy recipes we're enjoying. And check out my website. Like I've mentioned, I have my shop there. I have a big resource library with lots of free resources for you. I like to post games and activities that are free for each week of Cycle 3 coming up. There's Cycle 2 ones in there now. So check that out. Let me know if you have any questions. There's also lots of homeschool blog posts that hopefully will encourage and help you. So again, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.